Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up here with a look at Ethereum. Sorry for this being so late here. It was a very deep dive into the Bitcoin. Well, I'm sharing my thought process through all of the count variations that we've been through as the market continues to reveal, and as you guys requested, sort of my whole thought process. I tried to give you as much as I could there, so I know that was longer than normal, but that was about as much detail as I can give you. Now, I think here we've got a much easier count to reconcile. We don't have that same conundrum as to whether or not we're wondering whether or not we've got a 2 or a 4. I think we can all be fairly solid here about the fact that we've got a completed impulse off of this low. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a little. This was a little bit unusual in that we had the extension in the 5 of the impulse here, but note here we don't overlap the 1. It plays, right? So there's the 5 ABC for the 4, rip up for the 5 now. So we come down here, and while I know you can't quite see the low here, but well, you can look over here, right? So do you see this? All right, so we don't have market acceptance there. So, right, we can do a couple things here just right off the bat before we pull up any fibs. Just like, okay, well, there's some structure. Looks like maybe that was in play here as we came up just shy of it. But, right, first question, always, why does it stop there? You guys already know where I'm going with this because I'm sure members have all done this. Right to the golden zone. All right, so we get a little divot here in the, literally is right on top of this. I think we pointed this out in the last video here. So as we come to the golden zone, you see we got a little hole in the volume profile here, and it kicks right out of there. We don't have market acceptance there. So the count completes here, and I think in the interest of trying to simplify, much like I think we ended up with the simplest variation in Bitcoin, I think this can be simplified as well. So there is essentially, and we'll get into the subdivision here briefly, but there's a nice little ABC, brings us down here for the 2, right, I mean smack dab, couldn't script it any better. Right to the golden zone, to the tick, got a reaction off of it. So the idea that we're going to want to, now what's the one little hedge there? The length of time. Right, the 2 relative to the length of time it took to give us this completed impulse, that is not ideal, right? You'd like to see that have a little more time. So what do we do here? June 26th and let's call our low July 17th, so less than a month here, and this was December through June, so it's almost 6 months here. So that makes me a little bit ill at ease with that in terms of the length of time. The symmetry is going to be a bit askew, but the count, it's so clean in terms of the count coming down that I think until we see a break here, there could be, there's the possibility here we'd end up with a WXY or something like that, and we could end up with a double bottom. There's a number of different ways this could play. So that would be the point of caution in this count, is that the length of time here is a bit suspect. The swing relationship, the retrace to the golden zone, the ABC that comes down, all well and good, right? Just all very clean and easy to count, relatively easy. But that length of time, makes you cautious. So let's go down. Oh shit! Here, I don't think we have to do much. Let me go to 30 here. We can get through this pretty quickly. God, we spent so long on the Bitcoin video, or I did, I should say. Let's see if we can do this one a little bit more expediently. Okay, so I think coming down here, we can play this as just as we did. We can play it as a leading diagonal. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's got to be subdivided into ABC, ABC, ABC. Oh, I didn't label it, but I should have labeled that, guys. Let me dig in there. All right, so you don't have a lot to work with in the A wave here. It's much like Bitcoin. It's just that it was just a free fall. 1, 2, but then you'd have to do it this way. So you'd have to go A, B, C. Get you down here. Give me a second here. So I can stay that. Let's get this up a degree. We'll go up to micro. All right, we'll put this here. Put that into blue. That'll work. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, A, B, C into the 4, and then you'd have to do this as well. A, B, C coming down here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diagonal gives us an A wave here as we, upside down. Hang on, bear with me. There's the 5 of the A. All right, so then I think we can play this as an ABC going across. So ABC, we get we finish here beautifully for that C wave here. And it's, I recall here from our high to our low. Right, it's 50 to the tick. Right, ideal. Perfect location, and we actually all we get down here right as we approach this. So we blew through first, second, third target right in between, in the middle of the golden zone. So likely the golden zone stops it here, but that's a hell of a rip from here, from that 50 right, all the way down to their third target. But we end up finishing with an impulse. So nice short here. Right, I didn't take that right. I rarely will I short the majors, but this is a beautiful trade here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get the A. I think, again, it's in the interest of simplifying. It's a zigzag, right? So we get 5, 3, 5, right to the golden zone. Couldn't script it any better. Now, what's coming off of that? Let's get. I don't know why that always is over there. I don't know what I did. I clicked something here that always ends up there. Okay. Anyway, not to digress. All right. So there's our ABC. Now we've got. Come here. All right, let's get our median lines on that. All right, of course, 3 pivots. No question about what we're going to do. All right, so it seems like the 50 seems to be holding this. So we're not, spot on to the tick here, but we're hovering around now. We need to get, if this is going to get out of here, we got to get through these the downsloping parallel here to the median line. So I like this. I'm going to feel a whole lot better once now I'm going to take this off here, but I would encourage you to have it on somewhere. So with that established, let's go down to this little reaction coming off of this, and this is looking fairly solid. It's definitely a technical reaction here. So here we are at the golden zone. Now I get a D. So again, I think we've got a 5 here. So we get a diagonal coming off of so we get a motive wave. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is spot on technical. So we remember in a diagonal, let me open this up a little more. In a diagonal, we're looking for the reaction for the 4 relative to the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. All right, so what you'd hope to see is that you'd hit the 50. All right, so there we are, and it's damn near tick to tick. So here, just far enough to get, it's interesting, so it's just enough to overlap the 1, get to the 50, there's your target to the tick. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. All right, so that high probability now, right, barring the unforeseen, 1 is in. We're looking for the 2, 3, 4, 5. Got to put them somewhere. Oh, we'll go up to minuet. Let's put that in. We'll go to blue. Okay, so we've got a contender here now. Given the reaction at the algo target, right? See, that's how we know it's the reaction at the target, not the 50. Right, so again, you could kind of think of that as the alternating pivot, but per the diagonal, right, we can just use the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. That nails it. So now we'd look here saying, okay, well, looks like I've got a completed diagonal into my 1. So am I done here? Well, it doesn't look like it would be. And obviously, you'd be looking for it down here in this range here for our opportunity to be a buyer into the 2. That is going to set up a potential corner pocket for you. So these all have to go. We got to put them somewhere. Let's just throw them up there for the time being. So without having that pivot, all we can do is kind of get started on possibly, something along these lines here. Right, tease this up here. So if we're going to get a true third, so let's get these into place. This would potentially be up here. If we're going to get our true third here, might be here, might be here. It depends on how long it takes. So we'd be looking for something here. Come here. That's what I want. So maybe, so remember, right? So I don't have this pivot, right? But I'm just laying out a potential roadmap. So maybe that's where we hit for the 1, or we do something like this: 3, 4, 5 to get up there to give us the 3. That would be a reasonable spot for us. So something along those lines here. Again, just free drawing, just a potential roadmap. So until we get this pivot, right? This is all just projection and a potential roadmap here, but that's what it would look like if we're going to get it's hard to say whether or not we've got the A, B, C in there yet. Can't be definitive about it because we don't really, is that the B? Is that A? It doesn't look like it, right? So it looks like the B is still yet to come. So I'd be anticipating that from here we're looking for some sort of a 3 to take us down here for the corner pocket. Now, I don't know that we're going golden zone, but that would be convenient. We'd come right to a golden corner pocket, right? Then I like it all the more, right? And of course, the reason we like that trade is because the stop, right, can be, see, there's 2 ways to do it. You can trade with the ultra tight stop just be below the 65, I'd likely give it a little more room since we're talking about a second. We know that's not uncommon for that to go to the 786. So if we were going to get an ABC and going a little deeper, we'd lose the golden. We wouldn't have a golden corner. Let's get this out of here. But we'd have the potential for that to go. It doesn't matter if we go down here, we still get a corner pocket. We just don't get the primo golden corner. Right, still shit could come down here, go 887. It's once we get the pivot, that's what kicks the 80% in, and then it's all contingent on that pivot holding. Once we get the pivot, on the assumption that that pivot is going to stand, then it's 80%. Now you could hit it here, you could hit it here, we don't know, right? But this kind of gives you that leading indicator component. You could hit it here, but often it'll happen quickly, especially since of the slope here. Right, so because again, I don't have the pivot here, but the deeper it goes, obviously, the slope changes. So the more shallow, if we catch it at the 50, then we're still kind of looking up here for that upper parallel. This would be our 1618, right? That's our shorthand for it. So that pretty much all tees that up. So again, it's a little early to be like lining up limit orders to be a buyer down here. I need to see this. I need to see that B, right? And then bring me down here. Now I'm a buyer. Right, no hesitation for me. That's a buy. And I think you all, whether you're, I don't know if this ends up on YouTube or not, but members here, this certainly is an area to be looking of interest, right? So if I can get in, so as I will often do, I'll start at the 50. Maybe 30% of what I'm going to put on, I'll put on at the 50, anticipating I might be adding at the golden zone. Stop under the 786. So I would do it that way, which would set up a risk reward this way. All right, so let's split the difference. All right, here's what we're after. Stop under the 786. Give it a little wiggle room. All right, so that gets you up for 6.3 to 1. I'd take that any day, all day long. All right, guys, there you go. All right, give you a little something to work with. One to be watching. Okay, talk.